chosen one. You are not here by chance. This moment was appointed, aligned and activated long before you pressed play. Anointed one. Heaven is witnessing a shift in your mind, and a transfer is following close behind. When your thinking broke free, provision began to move. Scripture reminds us that wisdom brings wealth and clarity releases inheritance, and right now your insight is unlocking doors others never saw. This is the edge of a supernatural breakthrough, financial release, divine elevation. What was hidden is surfacing. What was delayed is accelerating. Still your spirit. Guard your focus. What you are about to hear is not information. It is activation. Chosen one. The moment you stopped thinking the way they trained you to think, something ancient and irreversible awakened inside you. This was not rebellion. This was remembrance. You did not wake up angry at the system. You simply stopped believing it deserved your obedience. And that single internal shift sent a signal far beyond your awareness. When your mind broke alignment with fear, heaven noticed, and the structures built to keep you small felt it immediately. There is a reason the atmosphere around you changed before you changed your behavior. People didn't react to your words at first. They reacted to your frequency. Conversations grew tense. Compliments became guarded. Familiar faces suddenly watched you more closely. Chosen one, that is not paranoia. That is resonance disruption. When someone exits a mental cage quietly, the cage makes noise trying to keep them in. You did not set out to challenge authority. You did not wake up deciding to dismantle belief systems. You were simply honest with yourself. You asked a question that felt obvious. You followed a connection that felt natural, and without realizing it, you stepped into a level of clarity that many are trained to avoid their entire lives. Not because it is dangerous, but because it is uncontrollable. The system depends on predictable minds. It survives on repetition, permission, and delayed understanding. But your mind did something unexpected. It connected dots without asking whether those dots were meant to touch. You didn't memorize more. You noticed more. You didn't consume more information. You extracted meaning. And that is what activated the panic you now feel around you. Chosen one, forbidden logic is not dark or corrupt. It is simply logic without supervision. It is clarity that does not ask to be approved. When you used it even casually, you bypassed years of conditioning in a single moment of insight. That is why it felt accidental. Real awakenings rarely announce themselves. They arrive as quiet realizations that refuse to be unlearned. Think back to the moment things shifted. A conversation where you spoke plainly and the room went silent. A realization that made you pause and think, why has no one said this before? A pattern you saw that suddenly made multiple areas of life make sense at once. That was not luck. That was your mind returning to its original design before it was fragmented by rules and lanes. From that moment forward, you stopped fitting neatly into their categories. You were no longer a student, a follower, or a consumer of approved explanations. You became unpredictable, and unpredictability terrifies systems built on control. Not because you are aggressive, but because you cannot be steered using confusion anymore. This is why the labels started appearing. Overthinking, dramatic, arrogant, oversimplifying. These are not critiques. They are containment tools. The system always attacks clarity by calling it naive. It always attacks insight by calling it dangerous. And it always attacks those who see patterns by pretending patterns do not exist. Chosen one. The truth is simple but unsettling for them. You did not break their rules. You exposed that the rules were artificial. You did not steal their knowledge. You realized their knowledge was incomplete. And once that realization settles into your nervous system, you can no longer pretend not to see it. This is why your presence feels heavier now. This is why silence follows you into rooms. There is also a personal cost to this awakening, and it matters that you hear this clearly. When clarity arrives, comfort often leaves. Not because you are wrong, but because you no longer participate in shared illusions. You may feel moments of isolation, not loneliness, but distance. Distance between your inner knowing and the surface-level conversations around you. That is normal. That is transition. I want to speak to you not as a voice above you, but as someone who has walked this threshold. There was a time when I also wondered why simple truths made people uncomfortable. Why clear questions were treated like threats. Why helping others see connections resulted in resistance instead of gratitude. It took time to understand that clarity removes dependence, and dependence is currency. Chosen one. The moment you stopped needing their approval, your mind crossed into territory they cannot manage. Approval is the leash. Confusion is the fence. You stepped beyond both without force. That is why the reaction feels disproportionate. You did not shout. You did not attack. You simply stood upright in your thinking. This is the beginning of a deeper alignment, not just intellectual, but spiritual. When your mind becomes clear, your intuition sharpens. When your intuition sharpens, your decisions change. When your decisions change, provision begins to move differently. This is where supernatural transfer begins, not with money, but with authority. Wealth follows alignment, not the other way around. Chosen one, guard this clarity. Do not rush to explain it to those who benefit from misunderstanding. Do not shrink it to make others comfortable, and do not inflate it into ego. Clarity is quiet power. It does not need to announce itself. It simply works. The more grounded you remain, the more undeniable your results will become. You are not ahead of others by accident. You are early by assignment. And what awakened in you is not meant to isolate you forever, but to prepare you. The shaking you feel around you is not a warning. It is confirmation that something real has begun. Stay present. Stay humble. Stay alert. Your mind has crossed a line it will never cross back from, and that is exactly how it was meant to be. Chosen one, once clarity enters the mind, the world begins to respond in ways that feel subtle at first, then unmistakable. You may not have noticed it immediately, but something around you started glitching. Systems that once felt solid suddenly showed cracks. Conversations that used to flow now stall. People who once spoke with certainty hesitate when you speak. This is not coincidence. This is resistance meeting awareness. There is a phase after awakening that no one prepares you for. It is the moment when the environment tests whether your clarity is temporary or permanent. The world probes you quietly, watching to see if you will retreat back into old thinking for comfort. It sends doubt through familiar voices. It wraps insecurity in concern. It asks, "Are you sure you're not overthinking this?" But chosen one. If you were overthinking, the patterns would collapse. Instead, they keep confirming themselves. You begin to notice how often complexity is used as a weapon. How frequently people hide behind jargon credentials or endless explanations to avoid simple truth. And what surprises you most is not that this exists, but how effective it once was on you. Now, when someone speaks in circles, your mind naturally cuts through the noise. Not with arrogance, but with ease. You see the core immediately, and that unsettles those who built their identity around being gatekeepers. This is where many pull back, not because they are wrong, but because they feel the social pressure of clarity. Being clear in a confused world can feel lonely. Being simple in a complex culture can feel dangerous. But understand this: chosen one clarity is not aggression. It is alignment. And alignment always exposes misalignment without trying. As this unfolds, you may notice a strange reversal. People who once taught you now seem unsure. Those who once corrected you now ask questions carefully. Authority shifts, not loudly, but energetically. And with that shift comes an internal question you may be carrying quietly. Why does this feel heavier than I expected? Because clarity comes with responsibility. When you see patterns, you cannot unsee them. When you understand structures, you cannot pretend they are random. And when you recognize manipulation, you can no longer participate in it, even passively. This is the weight of awareness. It does not crush you, but it does demand integrity. I remember a moment in my own journey when I realized I could no longer laugh at jokes that relied on ignorance, or nod along to explanations that felt dishonest. Not because I wanted to be different, but because my body wouldn't let me lie anymore. That is when I understood. Awakening is not about knowing more. It is about being unable to unknow. Chosen one, this is where forbidden logic becomes more than insight. It becomes discernment. You start sensing not just what is said, but why it is said. Not just the message, but the motive beneath it. This is when conversations feel layered, when silence speaks louder than words, when tone reveals more than content. And here is the truth few will tell you. Discernment attracts both opportunity and opposition. Doors open because you see what others miss. But tension rises because you no longer reinforce illusions. This is why some people drift away, not because you rejected them, but because your presence no longer validates the version of reality they rely on. This is also where provision begins to shift. When clarity enters, decisions change. You stop chasing what looks impressive and start choosing what is aligned. You say no faster. You move slower but more precisely. And slowly, almost quietly, resources begin responding differently to you. Time stretches. Opportunities feel cleaner. Energy stops leaking. This is not mystical fantasy. This is practical alignment. When your mind stops fighting reality, reality stops fighting you. When your focus sharpens, effort decreases. And when effort decreases, space opens for unexpected support. This is how supernatural transfer often begins, not with fireworks, but with flow. Chosen one, you may feel tempted to prove your clarity. Resist that urge. Clarity does not need validation. Results speak louder than explanations. Let your calm become your argument. Let your consistency become your credibility. The more you try to convince, the more you dilute the power of simply being aligned. There will be moments when you wonder if it would be easier to go back, to stop noticing, to blend in again. But you already know the answer. Once the veil lifts, pretending costs more than honesty, and your spirit will not let you betray what you now see. This phase is about stabilization, learning how to live with clarity without becoming rigid, learning how to see deeply without becoming detached, learning how to carry insight without turning it into identity. You are not here to be superior. You are here to be precise. Stay grounded in your body. Stay connected to ordinary life. Eat, walk, laugh, rest. Clarity grows strongest when it is integrated, not dramatized. The more normal you remain, the more powerful your insight becomes. Chosen one. The system does not fear intelligence, it fears independent intelligence, and that is what awakened in you. Not rebellion, not chaos, but sovereignty of thought. This is why things feel different now. You are no longer asking how to fit. You are quietly choosing where to stand. Trust this process. You are not losing people. You are losing distortions. You are not becoming isolated. You are becoming selective. And you are not stepping away from the world. You are stepping into it with eyes open. What awakened in you is not a phase. It is a return, and everything responding to it is simply adjusting to the fact that you are no longer asleep. Chosen one, after clarity, stabilizes a deeper shift begins to unfold, one that is quieter but far more decisive. This is the phase where your inner world and outer world stop agreeing automatically. You may wake up one morning and realize that the life you are living still looks familiar, but it no longer feels synchronized with who you are becoming. This is not failure. This is alignment recalibrating itself. You start noticing how many of your old routines were built on unconscious compliance. The way you said yes too quickly, the way you accepted explanations without testing them, the way you absorbed expectations simply because they were repeated often enough. Now something inside you pauses, not to resist, but to evaluate. And that pause alone changes everything. People may sense this before you speak. They feel it in your timing, your silence, your refusal to rush. You no longer fill space with unnecessary words. You no longer rush to prove understanding. You listen, but you listen differently. You are no longer collecting information. You are weighing truth. And that shift makes your presence feel heavier, more intentional. There is a subtle discomfort that comes with this stage. Not fear, but friction. Friction between who you were trained to be and who you can no longer pretend to be. You may feel it in conversations that suddenly feel shallow, in ambitions that once excited you but now feel hollow, in goals that look impressive but lack substance. This is not confusion. This is discernment refining itself. I remember reaching this point and feeling almost disoriented, not because I didn't know what was wrong, but because I knew exactly what no longer fit. It felt like wearing clothes that were once my size, but now restrict my breathing. I could move, but not freely. And once you feel that you cannot unfeel it. Chosen one. This is where many try to intellectualize their way forward. They read more, consume more, analyze more, hoping clarity will arrive through accumulation. But this phase is not about more input, it is about subtraction, letting false urgency fall away, letting borrowed desires dissolve, letting unnecessary noise lose its grip. As this happens, you may notice a strange emotional neutrality setting in. Not numbness, but calm. You are less reactive, less triggered, less pulled into drama. Things that once demanded emotional energy now pass through you without leaving residue. This is not detachment. This is regulation. Your nervous system is learning a new baseline, and with regulation comes power. Quiet power, the kind that does not announce itself but cannot be ignored. You begin making decisions from a place of steadiness instead of pressure. You choose timing over speed. You choose alignment over approval. And slowly outcomes begin to shift in ways that feel almost effortless. This is where provision starts responding differently, not because you chased it harder, but because you stopped scattering your attention. Focus is currency in unseen realms. When your focus becomes coherent, support begins to organize itself around you. Opportunities arrive that do not require you to betray yourself. Doors open that do not demand performance. Chosen one, you may also experience a period of loneliness here, but it is a specific kind. Not the loneliness of rejection, but the loneliness of standing between worlds. You are no longer fully immersed in old patterns, but you have not yet fully embodied the new ones. This in-between space can feel quiet, even empty at times. Do not rush to fill it. This space is fertile. It is where identity restructures itself without force. It is where your values realign organically. It is where you begin to recognize what truly matters to you beyond survival, beyond image, beyond expectation. Sit here longer than feels comfortable. Something important is forming. You will notice that when you do speak now, your words land differently. You may say less, but what you say carries weight. People listen more closely, not because you are louder, but because you are clearer. This is the natural authority that emerges when your inner and outer worlds begin to agree again. Do not confuse this with superiority. True clarity does not inflate the ego, it softens it. You become more compassionate, not less. More patient, not more distant. You see how many people are still operating from fear, and instead of judging them, you understand them. Understanding does not mean returning to sleep. It means moving through the world with grace. Chosen one. This phase teaches you restraint. Knowing when not to speak. Knowing when not to act. Knowing when to wait. Waiting is not passive when it is guided by clarity. It is strategic. It allows the right moment to reveal itself without force. There will be signs during this time that you are aligned. Synchronicities increase. Small confirmations appear. Conversations echo your thoughts. Answers arrive before you finish asking. These are not miracles. They are signals of coherence. When your inner world organizes, the outer world mirrors it. Trust what is happening, even if it feels subtle. Not all transformations are dramatic. Some are precise. Some are surgical. This one is shaping the foundation you will stand on next. Rushing now would only delay what is already arranging itself. Chosen one. You are not losing momentum. You are gathering it. You are not falling behind. You are moving into position. And what emerges from this phase will feel natural, stable, and unmistakably yours. Stay with it. Stay honest. Stay grounded. The clarity that awakened you is now teaching you how to live from it, not just see through things. And that is where true power begins to take form. Chosen one. Once clarity settles into your nervous system, life begins testing whether you will live from it or merely admire it. This is where pressure appears not as chaos, but as invitation. Situations arise that ask you to choose differently than before, not dramatically, but precisely. Small decisions now carry disproportionate weight because you are no longer choosing blindly, you are choosing with sight. You may notice that the same situations repeat, but your response changes. The same type of conversation, the same kind of opportunity, the same familiar dynamic shows up again, yet something in you refuses to react the old way. This is not stubbornness. This is integration. Insight is becoming embodiment, and embodiment always comes with friction before it becomes ease. There is often a quiet grief here, not loud, not obvious, but real. Grief for the version of you who tried so hard to fit into systems that were never designed to honor clarity. Grief for time spent shrinking, explaining, apologizing for seeing too much. Allow that grief. It is not weakness, it is release. You cannot move forward cleanly while carrying loyalty to what no longer exists. I remember feeling this grief unexpectedly in ordinary moments. Walking past places that once defined me, hearing conversations I used to engage in automatically, realizing I no longer belonged to certain rhythms. It was not painful in the way loss usually is. It was clarifying, like closing a book you once loved but outgrew. Chosen one, this stage also reveals something important about power. Real power does not announce itself. It reorganizes environments silently. You may notice people adjusting around you without you asking. Conversations soften. Manipulation attempts fail faster. Certain doors close without explanation. These are not setbacks. These are recalibrations. When you operate from clarity, misaligned systems cannot extract energy from you anymore. They sense it. They either adapt or disengage. This is why some things fall away without conflict. They simply no longer have access, and access was the only reason they existed in your life. This is also where discipline becomes sacred. Not forced discipline, but self-respect in action. You become more careful with your time, more selective with your attention, less willing to explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding. This is not arrogance. This is stewardship. Clarity demands stewardship because it opens channels. When you are clear, your mind becomes a clean signal. Ideas move faster. Solutions arrive more easily. And with that comes responsibility. You cannot afford to waste this signal on noise. The more you protect it, the more it strengthens. Chosen one, you may notice your intuition sharpening now, not as a mystical voice, but as an immediate sense of yes or no. Your body responds before your mind builds a story. Trust that. The body often integrates truth before language catches up. This is not impulsiveness. This is alignment. At this stage, temptation shows up disguised as opportunity. Offers that look good but feel off. Paths that promise recognition but require compromise. Pay attention. Clarity is tested by comfort. Not everything that advances you externally supports you internally. Learn to feel the difference. This is where many people with insight lose their footing, not because they lack intelligence, but because they underestimate subtle compromise. A small bending here, a quiet silence there. Over time, clarity dulls if it is not honored. Stay alert, not anxious. Awareness is enough. You may also experience moments of doubt here, not about what you see, but about whether it is worth it, whether the cost of clarity is too high, whether ease would be simpler. These thoughts are normal. They are not signs of regression. They are signs that your old identity is negotiating its exit. Let those thoughts pass without engagement. You do not need to argue with them. You already know the truth. Returning to sleep is not rest. It is forgetting, and forgetting would cost you more than moving forward ever could. Chosen one. Something subtle but powerful is happening now. Your sense of self is decoupling from external validation. You no longer need constant feedback to feel grounded. You feel solid, even when unseen. This is rare. And it is the foundation of real authority. When validation no longer drives you, your actions become cleaner. You stop performing. You stop anticipating reactions. You act from intention rather than impression. This is when your presence begins influencing outcomes without effort. This is also where financial flow begins reorganizing. Not necessarily in obvious ways at first, but in patterns. Less leakage, better timing. Opportunities that feel mutual instead of extractive. You are no longer chasing security. You are aligning with sustainability. I want you to hear this clearly. Wealth is not drawn to desperation. It is drawn to coherence. When your inner world stabilizes, resources respond. This is not belief. This is structure. Systems favor those who see clearly because clarity reduces waste. Chosen one. This phase is about refinement, not expansion. You are sharpening the blade, not swinging it yet. Do not rush visibility. Do not force movement. Let precision do its work. Precision always outperforms speed in the long run. You are not meant to disappear. You are meant to arrive prepared. And preparation often looks like stillness to those who do not understand timing. Stay with yourself. Stay honest. Stay grounded in ordinary life while extraordinary alignment settles in. The clarity that awakened you is now shaping you into someone who can hold what is coming without distortion. This is not the climax. This is the calibration, and everything after this will move faster, cleaner, and with far less resistance because of what you're stabilizing now. Chosen one, after calibration comes a moment of quiet confirmation. Not loud, not dramatic, but undeniable. You begin to notice that life responds to you differently now. Not because you are forcing outcomes, but because you are no longer misaligned with them. Things that once required effort now require clarity. Things that once drained you now fall away before they can attach. This is the stage where your environment starts reflecting your inner order. You may not even recognize it at first. A problem resolves itself without confrontation. A conversation ends without tension. An opportunity appears that fits instead of demands. These are not rewards, they are signals. Signals that your internal structure has stabilized enough for the external world to cooperate. There is a deep relief that comes with this realization. Not excitement, but ease. You are no longer fighting invisible battles. You are no longer explaining yourself to closed ears. You are no longer chasing alignment. You are inhabiting it. And from this place, action becomes clean. I remember the first time I noticed this shift clearly. Something that would have once triggered anxiety simply didn't. The urgency was gone. The fear of missing out was gone. And in that absence, clarity spoke. That was the moment I understood. Power does not rush. It waits until timing becomes obvious. Chosen one. This phase teaches you trust. Not blind trust, but earned trust. Trust in your perception, trust in your pacing, trust in the quiet signals that guide you without noise. When you trust clarity, you stop outsourcing decisions. You stop asking for permission to know what you already know. You may notice now that your standards have changed. Not in a judgmental way, but in a precise one. You are less impressed by surface-level confidence, less moved by appearances, less interested in anything that cannot withstand honest examination. This is not cynicism. This is discernment matured. At the same time, your compassion deepens. You see how many people are still trapped in loops you escaped quietly. You recognize their patterns without needing to point them out. You understand their fear without absorbing it. This balance is important. Clarity without compassion hardens. Compassion without clarity drains. You are learning to hold both. Chosen one. This is also where creative energy begins returning. Ideas feel lighter. Curiosity returns without anxiety. You think freely again, not to prove anything, but because your mind enjoys movement. This is a sign of healing. When the mind is no longer guarded, it becomes playful. And play is where innovation lives. You may start seeing new paths now, not grand visions, but practical ones. Small shifts in how you work, subtle changes in how you relate to money, time, effort. You stop chasing outcomes and start designing systems that support you. This is wisdom in action. Financial flow often responds strongly at this stage, but not always as sudden windfalls. Sometimes it appears as stability, sometimes as consistency, sometimes as the removal of constant pressure. This matters more than excitement. Sustainable abundance is quieter than fantasy. Chosen. One, notice how your relationship with effort has changed. You are no longer pushing uphill constantly. When something resists too much, you pause instead of forcing. When something aligns, you move decisively. This rhythm protects your energy, and energy preserved becomes power accumulated. There may still be moments of doubt here, not about your clarity, but about patience. You may wonder if you should move faster, say more, do more. Remember this: speed is not power, precision is. Every rushed action leaks energy, every aligned action compounds it. This phase is about consolidation. You are gathering what has been scattered: attention, intention, identity. The more unified you become internally, the less effort life requires externally. This is not spiritual abstraction. This is lived experience. I want to speak to the part of you that still fears stagnation. Clarity can feel still compared to chaos, but stillness is not stagnation. It is readiness. It is the moment before decisive movement. Do not confuse calm with lack of progress. Chosen one. The world is not waiting for you to be louder. It is waiting for you to be clear. The right people, opportunities, and resources respond to clarity like gravity. They do not need persuasion. They recognize alignment instinctively. You may find now that you attract different conversations. People speak more honestly around you. They test ideas instead of posturing. They sense that pretending will not work. This is influence without effort. This is authority without dominance. As this continues, guard against one subtle trap: the belief that clarity makes you immune to error. It does not. It makes you quicker to correct. Humility remains essential. Stay curious. Stay open. Clarity grows sharper when it is paired with learning. Oh, chosen one. This is the phase where you stop identifying as someone who woke up and start living as someone who sees. Awakening becomes normal. Insight becomes habit. You are no longer visiting this state. You are residing in it. And from here, momentum begins to build naturally. Not forced, not chaotic, but intentional. What comes next will require you to move, but you will move with steadiness instead of urgency, with confidence instead of defense. You are not preparing for something distant. You are positioning yourself for something near. And the clarity you now live from is the reason you will recognize it when it arrives without doubt. Stay grounded. Stay precise. Stay aligned. The foundation you have built is strong enough to support what is about to rise. Chosen one. There comes a phase where clarity matures into authority. Not authority that demands attention, but authority that alters the room simply by presence. You may notice that people listen differently now. Not because you are louder, but because your words carry weight. They land, they settle. They don't need repetition. This is the stage where your inner alignment begins to influence systems beyond you. Conversations shift. Decisions around you change. Even resistance takes on a different tone. It becomes quieter, less aggressive, more uncertain. This is not coincidence. When your internal structure stabilizes, external structures recalibrate around you. I want you to understand something important here. Authority is not something you claim. It is something that emerges when your actions, values, and perception agree with each other consistently. You are no longer fragmented, and fragmentation is the only thing that ever diluted your influence. You may feel a stronger sense of responsibility now, not obligation, but stewardship. You recognize that what you see matters, that how you move matters. This awareness can feel heavy if misunderstood, but it is not a burden. It is a signal that you are trusted with more. There was a moment in my own journey where I realized people were mirroring my state back to me. When I was centered, things flowed. When I rushed, resistance appeared. That's when it became clear. Influence is not control. It is coherence. The world responds to coherence. Chosen one, you are learning how to hold your center even when others are unsettled. This is rare. Most people outsource their emotional state to their environment. You no longer do that. You regulate from within. This is power refined. You may also notice that certain relationships feel out of sync now, not because anyone is wrong, but because alignment has shifted. Some connections were built around old versions of you. Those versions no longer exist. Allow this without guilt. Growth requires release. At the same time, new alliances begin forming naturally, not forced networking, not strategic positioning, just recognition, a glance, a conversation, a mutual understanding that doesn't need explanation. These connections are quieter but stronger. They are built on clarity, not chaos. Chosen one. This phase also brings discernment around timing. You no longer feel pressure to respond immediately. Silence becomes a tool, not avoidance. You understand that not every moment requires action. Some moments require observation. This patience is strategic, not passive. You may feel temptation to explain yourself less and less. This is healthy. Over-explanation was a symptom of self-doubt, not kindness. When clarity is embodied, it doesn't need defense. It stands on its own. Let's talk about effort here. You are learning where effort multiplies and where it evaporates. You stop investing energy into proving things. You start investing energy into building things. This shift alone changes outcomes dramatically. Financially, this phase often marks smarter decisions, not riskier ones, but cleaner ones. You begin to see where value truly flows. You recognize leverage. You sense when to wait and when to move. Money responds to clarity faster than to ambition. There is also a subtle strengthening of boundaries, not walls, but filters. You allow access without surrendering stability. You listen without absorbing. You care without carrying. This balance preserves your energy long-term. Chosen one. Some people will misinterpret this phase. They may call it distance. They may call it coldness. It is neither. It is precision. You are no longer available for confusion, and confusion often mistakes clarity for rejection. I want to speak directly to your sense of purpose here. Purpose is no longer a question. It becomes an orientation. You don't ask, "What am I meant to do?" as often. You ask, "What is aligned now?" This keeps you present and effective. There may be moments where boredom appears. This is not stagnation. This is space. Space that used to be filled with unnecessary struggle. Use it. This is where strategy forms. This is where vision refines. You are also becoming aware of how influence compounds over time. Small, consistent actions matter more than dramatic gestures. You choose sustainability over spectacle. This is how lasting impact is built. Chosen one. Notice how your reactions have changed. Things that once triggered defensiveness now trigger curiosity. You analyze instead of react. This keeps you ahead. Emotional regulation is not suppression, it is mastery. As you continue, remain aware of one thing. Authority without humility becomes brittle. Stay open. Stay learning. Your clarity sharpens when it remains flexible. Rigidity is not strength. You are not here to dominate. You are here to stabilize. Systems shift around people who bring order simply by being aligned. That is what you are becoming. This phase is less about becoming more and more about consolidating what you already are. Integration, consistency, presence. These are quiet virtues, but they are unstoppable. Chosen one. What you carry now is trust. Trust in your perception, trust in your timing, trust in your ability to move when the moment arrives without hesitation or fear. The ground beneath you is solid, the momentum is building, and the authority you now embody will open doors that force never could. Remain steady, remain clear. What comes next will meet you where you stand, not where you rush. Chosen one. There is a moment when clarity stops feeling new and starts feeling normal. That is how you know it has integrated. What once felt like an awakening now feels like a baseline. You are no longer chasing insight. Insight arrives on its own, calmly, without drama. This stage can feel strangely quiet. The chaos that once surrounded your decisions has thinned out. Not because life became simple, but because you stopped feeding complexity that never served you. Silence here is not emptiness. It is order settling into place. You may notice that your intuition has sharpened in subtle ways, not loud warnings or emotional surges, but clean signals, a sense of yes or no that arrives before thought. This is not guesswork. This is pattern recognition refined by experience. Chosen one. Understand this clearly. When intuition becomes calm, it means trust has replaced fear. Fear always makes intuition noisy. Trust makes it precise. You are learning to listen without rushing to interpret. There is also a shift in how you relate to time. You no longer feel late. You no longer feel behind. Urgency dissolves because you understand that alignment cannot be rushed. What is meant to meet you will not miss you. This changes how you approach opportunities. You no longer grab. You evaluate. You sense whether something expands you or simply distracts you. Discernment becomes your primary filter, not excitement. People may comment that you seem more reserved. In truth, you are more selective. You speak when words matter. You withhold when silence carries more power. This restraint is not hesitation. It is wisdom. Chosen one, there is a deep internal recalibration happening now. You are releasing the need to be seen as exceptional. Paradoxically, this is when your uniqueness becomes undeniable. Authenticity does not perform. It resonates. You may find that validation from others has less effect on you. Praise does not inflate you. Criticism does not destabilize you. This emotional neutrality is not detachment. It is sovereignty. With this comes a clearer relationship to effort. You no longer exhaust yourself trying to push outcomes. You focus on positioning. When you are positioned correctly, effort multiplies instead of draining. Financial awareness often deepens here. You see how energy, time, and money mirror each other. Waste in one usually signals waste in another. You begin to streamline all three without force. Chosen one, you are also learning the power of containment. Not every idea needs immediate expression. Not every insight needs sharing. Some truths mature in silence before they are ready to move outward. This containment protects your momentum. When too many people have access to something unfinished, it loses coherence. You now guard what is forming until it stabilizes. You may feel less interested in proving anything. Arguments feel inefficient. Debates feel hollow. You recognize that clarity does not require consensus to remain valid. This frees a tremendous amount of energy. There is also an emerging compassion here, not pity, but understanding. You see why people cling to confusion. You see how identity can become trapped inside limitation. This awareness softens judgment without weakening boundaries. Chosen one, do not mistake compassion for obligation. Understanding someone does not mean carrying them. You are learning how to witness without absorbing. This preserves your clarity. Your nervous system is adjusting as well. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. Stress responses shorten, recovery accelerates. Your body is catching up to your mind. This alignment between mind and body is crucial. Sustainable power requires regulation. You cannot hold long-term influence while living in constant reactivity. You are stabilizing from the inside out. You may notice that creativity returns in a quieter form. Less explosive, more consistent. Ideas arrive ready to be built, not just imagined. This is creativity grounded in reality. Chosen one. This is where many people get distracted. The calm can feel anticlimactic. They look for another breakthrough, another rush. But this phase is not about sensation. It is about foundation. Foundations are invisible once laid, but everything depends on them. You are building something that does not collapse under pressure. That takes patience and restraint. There is also a strengthening of identity here. Not labels, not roles, but essence. You know who you are regardless of context. This makes adaptation easier, not harder. You move fluidly now. You adjust without losing yourself. This flexibility is a sign of integration, not uncertainty. Rigid identities fracture under change. Integrated ones evolve. Chosen one, pay attention to what no longer triggers urgency. That is where healing has completed its work. What remains reactive still holds a lesson. What is calm has been resolved. You are not meant to rush this phase. It is teaching you how to carry stability into environments that lack it. That is rare. Most people outsource stability to circumstances. As you continue, keep honoring simplicity. Complication is no longer impressive to you. Clarity is. Precision is. Ease that comes from alignment is. You are not shrinking. You are consolidating. And consolidation is what allows expansion without collapse. Remain present. Remain grounded. The clarity you now live in is not temporary. It is becoming who you are. Chosen one. There comes a stage where your clarity no longer feels like something you are doing, but something you are. You are not actively correcting your thoughts anymore. They arrive already aligned. This is the quiet authority of a mind that has stopped negotiating with confusion. At this level, you begin to sense the difference between movement and momentum. Movement can be busy. Momentum is inevitable. You are no longer chasing progress. Progress is responding to you. This is why patience no longer feels like waiting. It feels like confidence. You may notice that situations resolve themselves without your intervention. Conflicts dissolve before they escalate. Decisions clarify before they demand stress. This is not luck. This is the natural consequence of internal order reflecting outward. Chosen one. Your presence has changed. Not louder, not more forceful, but more coherent. People feel this even if they cannot explain it. Coherence is unsettling to those who live in fragmentation. It quietly exposes disorder without accusation. You may find that some relationships thin out further here. This is not loss. This is incompatibility revealing itself honestly. Where alignment is absent, distance becomes natural. You're no longer required to force harmony. At the same time, new connections form effortlessly. They do not need explanation or performance. There is recognition without introduction. These are not coincidences. These are resonances responding to your frequency. Your discernment now extends beyond people and into systems. You can feel when an environment drains you before it touches you. You sense when a structure is unstable long before it collapses. This foresight is not fear-based, it is pattern-based. Chosen one, understand this. When you stop doubting your perception sharpens. Doubt dulls awareness. Trust refines it. You're learning to act on early signals rather than waiting for confirmation through chaos. This changes how you handle risk. You no longer fear risk, but you also no longer romanticize it. You take calculated steps rooted in clarity, not adrenaline. This makes your progress steady instead of volatile. There is also a deeper honesty emerging within you. You no longer pretend interest where there is none. You no longer overcommit out of obligation. Integrity becomes effortless when alignment leads. This honesty may feel uncomfortable at first, not because it is wrong, but because it removes familiar masks. Yet every time you choose truth over performance, your energy consolidates. Chosen one. Energy consolidation is power. Leaks come from pretense. Strength comes from coherence. You are closing gaps that once drained you without your awareness. Your relationship with success is also evolving. You no longer measure it by comparison. You measure it by sustainability. What lasts matters more than what impresses. This mindset reshapes ambition. You are no longer driven by urgency to prove. You are guided by clarity to build. Building is quieter than proving, but infinitely more impactful. You may notice that fear-based motivation no longer works on you. Deadlines without meaning feel hollow. Pressure without purpose feels irrelevant. You now require alignment to engage fully. Chosen one. This is not resistance, it is maturity. Immature systems rely on fear to function. Integrated minds require coherence. Your internal dialogue has simplified. Fewer questions, fewer justifications, fewer loops. Not because you stopped thinking, but because thinking became efficient. You are also becoming more aware of your body's signals. Fatigue, tension, ease, and vitality now speak clearly. You listen before exhaustion forces your attention. This embodied awareness grounds your clarity. Insight without embodiment creates imbalance. You are learning to anchor wisdom into daily rhythms. Creativity here becomes practical. Ideas arrive with implementation built in. You no longer fantasize endlessly. You act decisively when action is required. Chosen one. Notice how your confidence no longer needs reinforcement. You're not looking for reassurance. You're operating from internal confirmation. This changes how others respond to you. Some feel safe, others feel exposed. Neither reaction is your responsibility. Presence reveals truth naturally. There is also a deeper peace settling in. Not passive, not indifferent, but steady. This peace does not depend on outcomes. It comes from alignment with your own perception. You are no longer afraid of stillness. Stillness does not threaten you because you trust what remains when noise disappears. This stage teaches you that power does not rush. It waits without anxiety because it knows it will be relevant when needed. Chosen one. You are learning how to carry clarity into complexity without being consumed by it. This is rare. Many can awaken, few can stabilize. Stability is what allows influence without burnout. It is what allows longevity instead of brief intensity. As you continue, honor what feels simple. Simplicity is not reduction, it is refinement. What remains now is essential. You are not losing anything real. You are shedding what cannot follow you further. Remain grounded. Remain precise. The clarity you embody now is not temporary insight. It is integrated knowing. This is not a peak. It is a platform. Chosen one, there is a point where awareness matures into responsibility. Not responsibility in the sense of burden, but in the sense of stewardship. You realize that clarity is not given simply to comfort you. It is given to be carried, protected, and expressed with discernment. At this stage, you understand that insight has weight. What you see has consequences not just for you, but for the environments you enter. This is why you become more deliberate with where you place your attention and energy. Not everything deserves access to your perception. You may notice that your tolerance for distortion has decreased. Half-truths, vague promises, emotional manipulation, and performative sincerity stand out immediately. This is not judgment. It is contrast. Your internal signal has become clean, so interference is obvious. Chosen one. You are learning that clarity creates boundaries automatically. You no longer need to defend them aggressively. You simply stop engaging where alignment is absent. Silence becomes a form of self-respect. This can feel isolating at times. Not because you are alone, but because fewer interactions feel meaningful. Depth has replaced quantity. You would rather have one conversation that resonates than 10 that skim the surface. This is also where your sense of timing becomes refined. You begin to know when to act and when to wait without external validation. Waiting no longer feels passive, it feels strategic. You trust that premature action costs more than patience ever could. You may observe that life responds differently to you now. Obstacles either dissolve quickly or reveal themselves clearly. Confusion no longer lingers. Delays come with information attached. This is the feedback loop of alignment. Chosen one, pay attention to how your emotions have reorganized. They no longer hijack your decisions, they inform them. You can feel deeply without being controlled. This emotional literacy is rare and powerful. You are also learning how to hold paradox. You can be compassionate without being permissive. You can be confident without being rigid. You can be open without being porous. This balance did not come from theory. It came from lived correction. Your sense of identity continues to simplify. You're less interested in defining yourself and more interested in being consistent with what you know is true. Labels feel restrictive. Essence feels sufficient. This consistency creates trust both internally and externally. People know what to expect from you because you're not fragmented. You're not performing different selves for different rooms. This coherence is grounding. Chosen one with coherence comes influence, not the loud kind that demands attention, but the quiet kind that shifts rooms without speaking. Influence rooted in clarity does not convince, it invites. You may notice that people seek your perspective more often, not because you advertise it, but because your presence signals safety and precision. Be mindful here. Not every request requires your response. Discernment at this stage means choosing when to share and when to observe. Wisdom is not measured by how much you say, but by how accurately you speak when it matters. There is also an increasing awareness of cycles. You recognize patterns in your own behavior, in others, and in larger systems. This allows you to anticipate rather than react. Anticipation conserves energy. Chosen one, anticipation is not anxiety. It is preparedness without tension. You are not bracing for impact. You are adjusting your position before impact is necessary. This shift changes how you relate to uncertainty. Unknowns no longer feel threatening. They feel like open space. You trust your ability to navigate without needing a map for every step. Your confidence now comes from adaptability, not control. You know you can respond effectively even when conditions change. This makes you resilient. You may also find that your values have crystallized, not as rules, but as reference points. Decisions become easier because you know what you will not compromise. This clarity reduces internal conflict. When values are aligned, there is less negotiation inside you. Action follows understanding smoothly. Chosen one, notice how your energy recovers faster now. Emotional hangovers shorten. Mental fatigue dissipates more quickly. This is a sign that you are no longer fighting yourself. You are also becoming aware of how environments shape behavior. You choose spaces that support clarity rather than test it. This is not avoidance, it is optimization. Creativity at this level becomes selective. You do not chase ideas, you develop the ones that arrive with staying power. Depth replaces novelty. This depth creates continuity. You are building something that connects past insight with future application. Nothing feels wasted anymore. Even challenges integrate into understanding. Chosen one. There is a growing sense of inner authority. You no longer need permission to trust what you see. This does not make you inflexible, it makes you grounded. Grounded people can change their minds without losing themselves. You are open to correction but not easily destabilized. This balance protects growth. You may experience moments of grief for your old self. Not regret, but acknowledgement. That version of you served its purpose. Honor it without returning to it. This stage is about inhabiting your clarity fully, not explaining it, not defending it, living from it. You are not rushing toward an outcome. You are becoming someone who can sustain outcomes when they arrive. Chosen one. This is integration deepening. The world will continue to move, systems will continue to shift, but what you have stabilized within yourself is not easily shaken. Remain observant, remain aligned. The clarity you carry now is not just for insight, it is for impact. Chosen one. There is a moment when clarity stops asking for attention and starts asking for discipline. Not discipline imposed from outside, but discipline born from self-awareness. You begin to realize that insight without embodiment is incomplete. Knowing is no longer enough. You are being shaped to live what you understand. At this stage, you become deeply aware of how your daily choices quietly sculpt your future. Not the dramatic decisions, but the repeated ones. What you tolerate becomes structure. What you repeat becomes identity. What you delay eventually decides for you. This awareness is sobering, but it is also empowering. Chosen. One discipline now feels like alignment rather than restriction. You are not forcing yourself into routines. You are designing environments where clarity can function without resistance. Structure stops feeling like limitation and starts feeling like support. Order becomes a form of kindness toward your future self. Your relationship with effort changes significantly here. You no longer equate intensity with effectiveness. You see how frantic movement often masks confusion. Calm, deliberate action now feels more powerful than urgency. You conserve energy because you understand how valuable it is. This is also where integrity sharpens. You notice when your actions drift from your values and you correct course early. There is no self-punishment, only self-respect. You stop abandoning yourself to maintain external harmony. You understand the hidden cost of compromise. Chosen one boundaries become embodied rather than declared. You no longer explain yourself excessively. Your consistency teaches people what is accessible to them. This clarity reduces friction. You are not defensive, you are precise. At this level, ambition matures. You are less interested in impressive opportunities and more interested in sustainable ones. You recognize that growth without alignment leads to burnout. You choose depth over display, longevity over speed. Your patience evolves here, not passive waiting, but grounded timing. You trust process because you trust your perception within it. You're no longer afraid of missing out. You are more concerned with misalignment than delay. Chosen one. Uncertainty stops feeling threatening. You no longer require full visibility to move forward. You act when clarity is sufficient, not perfect. This allows momentum without recklessness. You learn by doing, not by overthinking. Your internal dialogue simplifies. Fewer justifications, fewer mental loops. You act, observe, and adjust. This feedback cycle keeps you grounded in reality rather than anticipation. Presence replaces projection. There is also a noticeable shift in how others respond to you. Your words carry more weight because they align with your actions. You do not speak often, but when you do, you are clear. Trust builds quietly around consistency. Creativity becomes more focused at this stage. You stop scattering energy across endless ideas. You commit to development. You allow projects to mature rather than chasing novelty. This patience produces quality. Chosen one quality now matters more than visibility. You are building something meant to last, even if no one sees it yet. Internal stability becomes more rewarding than external recognition. You measure progress by coherence, not applause. You also learn how to rest without guilt. Rest becomes maintenance, not avoidance. You understand that sustainable power requires recovery. You listen to your body instead of overriding it. This preserves longevity. Challenges still arise, but they no longer destabilize you. You respond instead of react. You correct instead of collapse. Resilience is no longer something you try to cultivate. It is a natural byproduct of alignment. Chosen one. This phase is quiet but decisive. It is where potential becomes reliable, where insight becomes habit, where identity stabilizes without effort. You are no longer seeking transformation. You are living from it. This is not a dramatic chapter. It is a foundational one. And foundations determine how high something can rise without breaking. Chosen one. There comes a point when your growth stops being visible and starts becoming undeniable, not because it announces itself, but because it reorganizes everything around you. You notice that situations respond differently now. Conversations shift faster. Outcomes arrive with less friction. This is not luck. This is coherence. At this stage, your presence carries weight. Not dominance, not force, but gravity. People feel when you are grounded. They sense when your words are not rehearsed, but lived. You no longer persuade, you resonate. And resonance does not need explanation. You begin to understand that influence is not about volume. It is about alignment. When your inner state is stable, your external impact multiplies quietly. You stop chasing validation because your nervous system no longer depends on it. Approval becomes optional, not oxygen. Chosen one, discernment sharpens here. You see the difference between opportunity and distraction almost instantly. What once felt tempting now feels noisy. You recognize that not everything that can expand you should. Expansion without integration creates imbalance. You choose what strengthens your center. Your emotional regulation deepens. You still feel deeply, but you are no longer dragged by feeling. Emotions pass through you instead of defining you. You listen to them without obeying them blindly. This creates a calm authority that cannot be shaken easily. You also begin to see how much of the world runs on unconscious repetition. Patterns repeat because few people interrupt them, and you, chosen one, have become someone who interrupts patterns simply by responding differently. This is subtle power. This is leadership without announcement. At this level, solitude becomes nourishing rather than lonely. You no longer fear silence. Silence clarifies you. Time alone feels like recalibration, not isolation. You return to others more present, more intentional, less fragmented. Your values stop being abstract concepts and become lived filters. Decisions pass through them automatically. This reduces internal conflict. You no longer argue with yourself for days. You feel alignment quickly, or you feel resistance clearly. Both guide you. Chosen one, self-trust becomes embodied. You no longer outsource your knowing to external authorities. Advice becomes input, not command. You listen carefully, but you decide internally. This sovereignty stabilizes your path. Your relationship with success also matures. You stop defining it by comparison. You define it by sustainability and integrity. Winning at the cost of yourself no longer appeals to you. You are building something you can live inside peacefully. This is where timing becomes intuitive. You act neither too early nor too late. You sense when conditions are ripe. This saves energy. It also attracts cooperation. Things begin to align around your readiness rather than your urgency. You may notice that some people drift away during this phase, not from conflict, but from incompatibility. Your clarity exposes misalignment without accusation. This can feel bittersweet, but it is necessary. Space opens where growth requires it. Chosen. One, generosity becomes more precise. You no longer overgive to prove worth. You give where it nourishes both sides. This creates reciprocity instead of depletion. You finally understand that boundaries are not walls, they are doors with discernment. Your thinking becomes more strategic, but not rigid. You hold plans lightly. You adapt without panic. You understand that flexibility is strength when rooted in clarity. This allows you to navigate uncertainty without losing direction. There is also a deeper humility that emerges, not self-doubt, but realism. You recognize how much you still do not know, and this keeps you curious. Curiosity replaces defensiveness. Learning stays alive. Chosen one. This phase often feels quieter externally, but louder internally. Your intuition speaks more clearly because it is no longer competing with noise. You hear guidance sooner. You act with less hesitation. You begin to see your life as an ecosystem rather than a series of events. Sleep, work, relationships, creativity, rest, all influence each other. You make adjustments systemically, not reactively. This creates stability. Mistakes still happen, but they teach faster. You recover without spiraling. You integrate lessons instead of repeating cycles. This shortens learning curves dramatically. At this stage, you are not trying to become someone new. You are refining who you already are. Excess falls away. Essence remains. This is why your presence feels cleaner, calmer, more direct. Chosen one. What you are building now may not be visible to everyone, but it is deeply felt by those who are attuned. You are becoming reliable to yourself, and that reliability is the foundation of everything that follows. This phase is not loud, but it is irreversible. Once coherence is embodied, confusion cannot reclaim its throne. You have crossed a threshold where alignment sustains itself. And from here, your path unfolds with fewer detours and deeper purpose. Chosen one, let this moment settle gently into your spirit. What awakened in you was not rebellion, it was remembrance. You did not break order, you returned to alignment. Heaven is not threatened by clarity, heaven responds to it. Anointed one, hear this clearly. A supernatural transfer is already in motion. This is not anticipation, this is activation. You are standing in your Kairos moment, the exact point where divine timing meets awakened understanding. What shifted in your thinking has already begun rearranging your path. Doors are adjusting, resistance is dissolving. What once delayed you is quietly making room. Remain faithful to the clarity you have received. Guard it without fear. Carry it with humility. Stay aligned with the flow of the anointing by choosing stillness over noise and trust over urgency. What is coming does not require force. It requires steadiness. I speak blessing and confirmation over you now. May your discernment remain sharp. May your steps be ordered. May provision find you without striving. May favor speak on your behalf where you have not yet arrived. May peace anchor you as momentum increases. Chosen one, you are not early, you are not late. You are precisely where heaven can work through you most clearly. Walk forward with gratitude for what is already unfolding. If your spirit resonates with this word, you may seal it quietly by staying connected, sharing or responding not from obligation but alignment. Go in clarity. Go in confidence. Go knowing this was not coincidence. This was commissioning.